Hello, my name is Emma. Today we're going to be talking about the new Magic pre-workout honey and salt and why it's not that big of a deal really if you want to work out. I study a professional bachelor's degree in nutrition and health, where I specialize in health promotion and illness prevention, specifically talking about sports science and sport nutrition. This whole honey and salt thing has been floating around the internet for quite some time, maybe a few weeks or so, and it's been promoted to be the new magical pre-workout, supposed to give you this huge boost and huge performance boosts in terms of exercise, and especially in the gym when you look at your weightlifting sections. Now, the reason why the honey and sugar isn't a magic food is because that honey just contains lots of simple sugars, also known as glucose, and salt contains a lot of sodium. Now, you could eat literally any food before working out that's high in sodium and simple sugars. So you could eat salted caramel or fudges with salt on top. You could even eat like Sour Patches. Maybe they're not so high in salt, but that doesn't really matter. A little bit of sodium does the trick. And the reason why this thing helps boost your performance is because glucose is the main energy source for the body. Now, having said that, you would think, okay, well, why do I need the sodium or the salt then with my sugars, as the body just uses the sugar as its main fuel source? Now, you don't really need sodium and you don't really need salt unless it's a really, really hot day and you're dehydrated and you're an athlete. You might want to look into it, or if you just want to try out this trick, if you're curious about it. But what sodium does is that it helps more readily to absorb glucose and a couple of amino acids in the small intestine. Now, it's also important to remain and continue to have this normal working muscle and nervous system so that you can, throughout your workout, continue to, lift weights as efficiently as you would do normally, but having the glucose and the salt being able to be absorbed easier, you should see a few tiny improvements. But it really depends on like how much you take. And then again, you want to be sure that you're not going over the limits of the sodium intake, because that can have adverse effects like high blood pressure as well. Sodium also helps keep you in balance in terms of fluids. So if it's a hot day, you're sweating a lot, you might want to replace your fluids. So maybe you can eat a little piece of salted caramel before you work out to help retain some of the fluids. But I mean, it's not a magic trick. You can try it out if you want, but it's just any food will do, and just eating food adds energy, and energy always helps you put out more energy when you lift weights or run or whatever. So there is some science behind it that honey and salt in combination, does help a little bit in terms of like effects. But I wouldn't say, and no studies so far have shown, that this is the new magical wonder that all athletes should take. But you can take it if you're curious about it. But if not, don't think that you have to, just to improve your weights or your training program or your cardio. Just continue being consistent, and then you will see results in the end. So that's my take on honey and salt. Not a magic food, but hey, if you're curious, it doesn't hurt as long as you don't go above the recommended, or not the recommended, sorry, the max limits for your country in terms of sodium intake.